like to open the meeting of the Fitchburg Board of Health for March 20th, 2025. This is sort of an in-between or interim meeting between our two regularly scheduled meetings. But we do have some items on the agenda. I don't think there's anyone actually in the audience to speak or anyone who is appearing remotely. But should someone want to speak, we'd ask that you state your name and the community in which you reside. Come to a center table where there's a microphone so that we can hear you. We ask that you try to keep your speech to 2 minutes on each agenda item. And if you did wish to speak, state the petition, order, ordinance, or resolution number to which you refer. Again, I don't think that we have anyone in the audience to speak right now, and no one who is scheduled remotely. So we'll just go ahead and jump into the agenda. The first item that we had on the agenda was a hearing and discussion scheduled because of the handling of curbside trash, debris, and garbage on certain areas of Grove Street. Apparently, none of the individuals about whom this question has arisen are here to speak, but I have been provided with some photographs of the numbers at Grove Street, which indicate that there's garbage being kept at the curbside and not properly disposed of. This is number 54, number 56, number 60, number 62, and number 64 Grove Street. Is there anyone who would like to speak about the garbage?
Me? You want to do it? So Grove Street.
I'm going to ask just for everyone to introduce yourself.
Yep. Jason Delmain, Sanitary Inspector, Health Department.
Thanks, Jason.
City of Fitchburg. 62 Grove Street is a difficult street as far as the trash and the placement of the barrels. A couple of the properties are landlocked. They don't really have a real good place to store their barrels other than the curb. And my hope was that we would come here today with the owners to try to put our heads together to figure out a solution as to how we can get their barrels off the curb. Not only does it cause blight, it makes the sidewalks impassable for pedestrians, and it just causes a nuisance.
Jason, is there any land that they have that's behind these buildings that's available to them?
There are at the ends of that long row of, I guess you would call them townhouses, maybe. Right. They do have driveways where they potentially could store their barrels, I suppose. It's really those center units that have no access, because those driveways on either end of the property are solely owned by those properties at the end.
I see. So it's not that these are townhouses that are...
They're not owned by the same individual. They're all individually owned.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was going to ask. Do they have a garage to park their car behind this, or do they park their cars on the street?
Mostly parking cars on the street, and I believe anybody in that center, those center units, are parking on the street.
Mm-hmm. And I think the Historical Society used to have a building that was pretty next door, close by, and I can see there's, I don't know what time of day or when this was taken, there was even garbage in front of the buildings further on down. It might be the numbers that you've included. Just directly across the street, it looks like there are some trees, and I don't know exactly what that represents, but I presume that's owned by someone else, and so they wouldn't have the ability to
So directly across the street are Wallace Towers, owned by the Fitchburg Housing Authority. I believe the chain link fence goes right down the sidewalk from their driveway up into the YMCA's driveway.
I see, so there's no place.
There's no real place over there.
Yeah, it would have been terrific, Dr. B, if we could have had the owners here to bang our heads together and sort of think of ways that, I mean, even we could pull in the waste companies, and there are ways to, we do have other properties that are provided dumpsters on wheels. So if folks agreed that do have driveways on the ends, I believe, of the property.
Or the
there would-
backside.
Or the backside. It's very small, but the owners of the ends would have to agree to allow these containers that are on wheels to be wheeled out, whether it's a weekly, I would assume that there's several units in each of those addresses, so that we're probably talking 15 units in that small little area. But I mean, there's ways we could certainly work this out. We just need all of us in the same room to sort of talk it out and see what the solution is. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. But go ahead.
The people that live in that middle unit there, looks like there are 3 units in that one building, right? The people that live in the middle one, they've got to have a back door.
Yes, yes.
So don't they have a place in the back to park their car also?
I do not believe so.
No.
Really?
There is a little backyard, I don't know if you'd call it a yard, but there is I mean, it's probably enough space to lay down.
However,
Put
they
your
would
feet
have.
against the door, but.
Yeah, sorry. They would still have to walk through the neighbor's property in order to get to the back. It's not, the way the property lines are set up is it goes from the sidewalk straight back. There's no common area or what's the term I'm looking for?
Yeah.
No right of way?
No right of way, that's what I was looking
Easement,
for.
right of way,
Yeah,
yeah.
easement or right of way that I'm aware of, which is once again why I was hoping to have the property owners here so we could all discuss this together, because it's going to involve all of them in order to get this problem fixed.
And I agree. I mean, I think that you mentioned blight, and it makes it difficult to walk on the sidewalk there because these are taking up pretty much all the room there. And there's vermin, I'm sure, that come around.
I
And
believe if you look closely at some of those barrels, you can probably see that the squirrels have chewed through some of those barrels.
really, yeah. And hopefully that's the worst of it. And, do these buildings have a basement per se? I wonder if they could.
I don't have enough history with them. I've been in them once or twice, but I've never been down into a basement area in those buildings, so I am not aware. I don't know if the director has been in them.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of them, not all of them. I'm assuming they're all very similar. And they do have a basement storage area, and I believe that when I was there, maybe 20 plus years ago, that's how they handled it. They stored before the barrel system, they stored their weekly trash in the basement, and that also brings up another option for our system as well. We do have smaller barrels that could be brought, or maybe easily handled and brought up and downstairs, so that obviously we could prove as another option to this problem.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a solution.
Yeah.
This is unacceptable to have the garbage sitting out there all week because of all the problems we've mentioned. And I think we need to insist that the owners of these units come and participate in a solution. And I think if they don't come, then I think they're going to start to encounter some penalties for not complying with the regulations and rules that we have with regard to managing garbage. It's not safe and it's not attractive. So I think, Grove Street is theoretically a could be quite a pretty street if you didn't have this kind of thing going on. So I think that, I think we need to insist that they come for a hearing, and if not, then if they'd rather have penalties applied to them, and we'll utilize that money for making solutions. But it'd be better if they came and got together with us and solved the problem. So
So they have not received a fine yet. It's just a discussion.
They received, I sent out an order to correct to every property owner
Yeah.
either a week or two ago, letting them know that the storing of the barrels at the curb is not allowed, and that the city is going to be strictly enforcing these rules and regulations with the adoption of the 40U program. And so we need to figure out a solution. And I have only heard back from one property owner since I sent those letters.
So these folks were all, the ones we mentioned, were all notified by letter? Is that it?
Correct.
So I did send them letters last Friday, short notice. So I understand that may have been short notice for them. And I also, in the process, have noticed that only a couple of them actually are living there. We have folks from Belmont. There was actually one address from Wyoming. So I didn't expect that individual to show up for a hearing, but we also do have a virtual option. So I was hoping that they would take us up on that. But
Well, someone is putting the garbage out there anyway.
oh yeah, the buildings are full. There's no doubt about it.
Coming from somewhere, yeah.
Yes.
So I think the owners are basically the responsible individuals for this, no matter who's living in there at this point, I would think. And so they're the ones who need to appear, or to have someone appear on their behalf. And if they don't, then unfortunately, I mean, we don't like to do it, but unfortunately, we would need to start fining them for not participating in a solution.
So because it was short notice, and I did send the letters Friday night, late in the day, it's possible they didn't go out in the mail till late Monday and may not have received till Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know how the mail works to Wyoming, but
Well, the Pony Express takes it, and
yes, it does. But I would certainly be open to keeping, if with the board's participation, keeping this on the agenda for our next meeting, and maybe an order from the board to correct the problem and or appear at the next meeting to discuss a solution, or else.
So the other thing, Steve, it looks like the two barrels that I can see, one of them doesn't have a cover, and one of them has got like maybe a hole in the front and no cover, or a half cover on the top. This might be a good opportunity to just put the information out there in case anybody in the who might be watching from home, to let people know that when your barrel doesn't have a cover, or when your barrel is all beat up like that, that they could get a replacement barrel. It's as easy as you're going to say exactly how easy it is, because I know firsthand.
Thank you very much for pointing that out.
Some of them don't look like they've got wheels on them either.
Yeah.
So maybe they were supposed to have wheels?
Quite frankly, they've been buried in the snow for a couple of months,
Yeah.
which is why we kind of held off on this issue, because I think they're frozen in the snow. But yeah, you're right. There are barrels in disrepair. And yes, thank you for mentioning that. We do have a barrel repair replacement program. 90% of our barrels out there can be repaired. We do carry parts, and we do schedule repairs every other week, recycling as well as trash. Lids, wheels can be replaced. The barrel itself, once it's cracked, can't be repaired. It would have to be completely replaced, and we do that weekly. But yeah, it also can be done online. Right on the City of Fitchburg webpage, you can go into permitting and go into OpenGov and apply for, tell us what the problem is, and we'll get it scheduled to where it needs to go. But obviously, you can always call the office as well.
And on a side note, just to add to that real quickly. Another part of having the barrels at curb all throughout the winter, they're going to get damaged from being plowed in. And
Yep.
so if you're leaving them out at the curb, they're going to get damaged.
And
So
this whole,
To that point,
Yeah.
to add on to it, there's a limit to the replacement. If you don't take care of it and you leave it out there to be, I mean, these barrels are $60 a piece. If you're going to leave it out there to be
Beat up.
fully damaged every way, shape possible, we're not going to make it free. We're going to make you pay for it for a replacement.
yeah.
Well, I'd like to make a motion then that we revisit this subject at our next scheduled meeting, and that we send notice to the owners of these units, either to appear or to have someone appear on their behalf, so that we can come up with a solution to this problem. It's unacceptable to have it remain like this, and so it needs to be solved.
As long as there's,
Second it, sorry.
that's unanimous.
And we have a unanimous vote by the quorum then.
Which might be a great segue into our 40U enforcement, if you don't mind. I'm jumping around on your agenda, but
Unless this,
I would imagine he's for the tobacco hearing,
okay.
for which we don't have any folks other than him, so.
Okay.
But I'll mention this topic is hot at the moment in the office. We're doing everything we can to clean up the streets. We're hoping to get carts off the curbside and trash and debris that comes along with it when it sits at the curb 24/7. So we're willing to work with folks who have issues, such as like Grove Street has. They have no areas to store their barrels. The barrel system isn't 100% solving the problems, but we can certainly work together to make our city cleaner by getting these carts as well as trash and debris off the sidewalks.
Yeah, I think we have a city in Fitchburg that has potential beauty, and a lot of that beauty needs to be brought out by taking care of what we have here, historic buildings and nice surroundings. Certainly garbage around the streets and in the parks doesn't do anything to help with the appearance of the city, doesn't help to bring people who might consider to want to move here to come. So I agree with you. I think this question of garbage is very important. I was just looking at Facebook memories today, and I saw pictures of garbage in various backyards. That is unacceptable, and I think we need to do everything we can to make sure it's cleaned up, and if it isn't, then we have to encourage people, if it requires to do so by fines, but to do so to keep this area clean. Again, we have a lot of potential for beauty in this city, and we need to optimize that. I said it.
Perfect.
Is that all you were going to say about that, the newly implemented enforcement mechanism?
No, I was, thank you. I got lost my train of thought there. There is a municipal hearing officer that has been appointed. She is patiently waiting for her first hearing. We do have a couple of appeals, so we will be setting up some hearings before. But the whole ballgame of that 40U program and the municipal hearing officer is targeted at properties like these that are contributing to blight and littering the neighborhoods, and we're trying, it's a really quick enforcement method. Rather than going to court, we can set up a hearing before our municipal hearing officer in a short amount of time, get a decision, and get the enforcement out there that needs to happen quite quickly.
So I think at our last meeting, you addressed that. You said something about that this was that these type of concerns weren't going to be coming to the Board of Health meeting because they're
Correct.
going to be going there. So is that going to be, we're going to table it till our next meeting, but then is that something that we're going to hand over to her after we discuss it again at our next meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
this was sort of the nice guy approach.
A what?
Nice guy approach, and it was also to help get the word out there that this is kind of what we're looking for right now as we drive around our neighborhoods. The snow is gone, and unfortunately, when the snow melts, it sometimes exposes some ugliness.
It's messy out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very typical of this time of year, and we're trying to get ahead of it.
Okay, thank you.
And yes, it was an approach to try to work out issues. We're going to see more of these. But the enforcement end of it would not be before this board. It would be before the municipal hearing officer.
I see.
Should a ticket be issued, to make that clear.
Great. Well, we could, do you want to do the hearing with respect to tobacco violation, or would you rather go on to the, well, let me take it a little bit out of order. At the last meeting, we talked about the annual vote for the election of the chairman of the Board of Health. Again, I think we've decided that we would like to wait until we have a third member, if I'm understanding correctly, a third member of the board, even though two constitutes a quorum. We'll table that at least till the next meeting before making a decision as to who will be the chairman of the Board of Health, if that's all right with everyone.
You might want to vote on that.
I'll make a motion then that we table the decision regarding the Board of Health chairperson until the next meeting in April.
And that is in the hope that by the time we have our next meeting in April, we're going to have another member of the Board of Health.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'll second that.
So, just to comment on that, I don't know if it's possible to, I mean, there are applicants, but it does have to be appointed by the mayor, then the city council.
Yeah.
That might take a few weeks. Our next meeting is right now scheduled for 2 weeks from today. I suppose anything's possible, but
Well, I think
as we know, the world of government does not move fast. The wheels.
I think we can just, rather than say we'll put it out 6 months, I think
Yeah.
to put it to the next meeting is reasonable, and if still we don't have a
Right.
third member, then we can do the same. Is that fair?
That's adequate.
Good enough. Okay. Another item is the open meeting law complaint. Do you want to do that next, then? Do you want me to talk about that, or do you?
I can talk about it, sure. I was privileged to be able to hand this complaint over to our city solicitor's office. They prepared a complaint to the open meeting law complaint, very similar to the complaint last month. There is no violation for an unappointed member to participate in a meeting. It's not an open meeting law violation. There's no quorum issue as explained here. Should I read this?
Well, or I think what we could summarize by saying is we received a complaint short, I think within hours of our previous meeting, indicating that we had proceeded with a meeting of the Board of Health with only 2 of the 3 members present. Our third member decided not to seek a reappointment, and so currently there are 2 members on the board. But as it turns out, a quorum is satisfied by having 2 members on the board, number one. There was also mention that since I had not been reappointed when my term expired on January 1st and had not been reappointed since then, that in fact there was only 1 member who had been appointed who was still on the board, and therefore we didn't have a quorum. This is not the first time we've heard this very same complaint, and we've answered it before, and it was determined that I, even though I have not received reappointment as of January 1st, do remain on the board as a member until I resign or until I am replaced. So neither of those has occurred, so I remain on the board. We have 2 members present, which in fact is the quorum. Nevertheless, we have received, again, shortly, within hours, I think, of the last meeting, a very similar complaint to initial ones, indicating that we didn't have a quorum. So, again, we have had this special meeting to address that. We've had City Council address that, and I can let Steve, if you like, talk about that, or I can. But I will interject that this is kind of a repetitive complaint, and I will say that these complaints really, as well-meaning as they may be, they've already been answered, and they really constitute a waste of the time of those people on the board who have other things to do beside answer these complaints. And it also ends up costing Fitchburg money because individuals who are paid to serve on the board, not Diane and I, but other individuals who are paid, have to dedicate time to answering these complaints, and the City Council has to dedicate time. So it becomes a cost to the city. So that said, if you want to address this further, you can, or...
I think it's really important to note City Solicitor Office Attorney Castro's point that the open meeting law, I quote, "The open meeting law was enacted to eliminate much of the secrecy surrounding the deliberations and decisions on which public policy is based." And it points to a case. Looks like Giglione versus the Commonwealth of Southbridge, 1978. But anyway, to that end, the law requires that the notice be posted for every meeting of a public body and that meetings be open and accessible to the public, unless an executive session is convened, according to Mass General Law. So a meeting is defined as a deliberation by a public body with respect to any matter within the body's jurisdiction. And deliberation is defined as broad as any oral or written communication through any medium, including electronic mail, between public body members or regarding business within its jurisdiction. It's there to keep transparency before the board members, so things are not adopted secretly.
Right.
It's not there to play silly games and make us meet every 2 weeks, which is nice. I don't have a problem seeing your happy faces every 2 weeks, but it's not designed to. It has really nothing to do with appointments. It's just another
Well,
way to throw daggers at something that is, like you said, a waste of time.
yeah. And I've said it many times before at these meetings in response to similar criticisms that the board members, number one, are not paid. Number two, we're here to try to improve the health and to maintain the health of the citizens of Fitchburg and the city as a whole. We're not perfect individuals, no one is, but we do the best we can, and we try to do it within any regulations and laws that we're presented with. So it just seems a shame that we face these sorts of criticisms when all we're doing is really trying to help. It's not something, as I say, it's not for any personal gain. We're not paid for this kind of work. It's all to do the best we can for the city that we live in and try to make it a good place. And Steve does the same. So, we're certainly willing to answer any reasonable criticisms, but certainly when they become repetitive and redundant, it seems, number one, to border on harassment, and number two, to cost the city money, which really should not be spent on this. There are better things to be spending the city's money on. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
If I might just close or comment on that, I think Attorney Castro also mentions that the division as well as the city discourages complaints that are frivolous. And he also points out that it wastes municipal and Commonwealth of Massachusetts resources. And that's a good point in a statement in this letter. And I'd like to thank him for handling this issue and allowing the board to respond. And what needs to happen next is that the board has to sort of bless it so that this can serve as our response to the Attorney General's office.
Thank you.
If it meets the need of the board regarding the response.
I would recommend that this is sent to the Attorney General, and also will Ms. Wetchy receive a copy of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I second that recommendation. And that constitutes a majority and quorum recommendation.
Excellent. I think we have both parties now for a tobacco hearing.
Okay, super.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sardelli. Not used to having a quiet meeting with two people.
Well, I think then that we can move on to the tobacco hearing. I'm going to, I'll defer to Steve perhaps for the details on this, but my understanding is that a tobacco product was sold to an underage individual in the recent time, and that this constitutes a violation of the tobacco regulations in Fitchburg.
If you gentlemen wouldn't mind stepping up, maybe Mr. Sardelli on that side, and Mr. Muggle? Yes, sir. Am I saying it right? Muggle. You just need to do the chair thing.
Want me to read this?
Yep.
Okay.
And then it's guided.
I'm sorry, but I have to read this. I'm Dr. John Bogdasarian, chairperson of the Board of Health, and the other member is Diane Toussaint, who is a member of the board, and of course the director, Mr. Stephen Curry. The reason for the hearing today is because of a non-compliance with the Massachusetts State Sanitary Code, minimum standards for retail sale of tobacco and electronic nicotine delivery systems. This is a formal hearing. All affected parties shall be given an opportunity to be heard, to present witnesses or documentary evidence regarding non-compliance with the Massachusetts Sanitary Code, minimum standards for retail sale of tobacco and electronic nicotine delivery systems. Please note that every notice, order, or other record in connection with the hearing shall be entered as a matter of public record in the office of the Board of Health. During this hearing, I remind that all Board of Health will make a decision and vote whether a fine, suspension, or both, or to take no action should be given against the owner and or the establishment which holds the permit for sales of tobacco and nicotine delivery products from the Fitchburg Board of Health. I ask, and I'm sure it'll occur, that we all respect each other. Anyone not respectful of others or becomes belligerent will be asked to leave. At this time, I would like all persons who plan to give testimony at this hearing, please raise your right hand and understand you are testifying under oath. Do you solemnly swear and confirm the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth?
I do.
Okay, thanks. If there are any documents that you wish to be entered, please introduce each document for the record as Exhibit 1, 2, 3, and so on. If there are objections to the exhibits, then I, as Board of Health Chair, will decide if an exhibit should be introduced. At this time, we shall begin the hearing with the Tobacco Control Agent, Rick Saudelli.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I was a little tardy. I was at the building next door. Beautiful facilities here. Looks really good.
Sorry about that, I forgot to mention.
Well, and I read the email from Is Joan Hamlet, I thought she was going to be joining us via Zoom. Is she piped into this meeting?
Could you, Rick, could you just speak into the microphone?
Sure, of course.
That's good.
My understanding was that Joan Hamlet, the director of the Tobacco Control Alliance, was going to be participating in this meeting.
Oh, she didn't sign up, so we didn't.
Okay, no,
We didn't.
and that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Okay.
So there was on February 22nd, 2025, an inspection occurred at Express Fuel and Food, Water Street, Fitchburg, Mass, and there was a sale to a minor. This is the first state violation in 36 months. Joan Hamlet, the director of the Tobacco Control Program, has spoken with Usman, the owner of the store. He stated that he reviewed his security footage, and it is my understanding that Usman does not dispute that the sale occurred. He wanted to let the Board of Health know that he takes these violations seriously and is concerned about the suspension. State law does require that a $1,000 fine be issued, and it cannot be reduced by the Board of Health. Standard procedure in circumstances like these is to issue a 3-day suspension for the sale to a minor for the first offense. However, state law also states that the suspension has to be 1 to 7 days, meaning the Board of Health can reduce to 1 day, but not exceed 7 days. If the Board of Health is inclined to reduce that 3-day suspension, the recommendation is to continue the remaining days without a finding to be served if there is another violation in 36 months to be consistent with previous findings. There were no protocol errors or processing errors, so it is the recommendation of Tobacco Control that a responsible finding with a $1,000 fine and permit suspension to be served. That is the recommendation. If the board decides to reduce to a 1-day suspension, the new suspension date effective would be April 5th, 2025. If it is the board's determination that it is a 3-day suspension, it would be April 5th, 6th, and 7th. And just for the record, our records show that Usman's locations are in cooperation with all inspections. He has 3 locations in Fitchburg and has reached out to make sure that he is selling compliant products in his store. So Usman is a very, works with tobacco control intimately.
Could I ask a question or two? Sure. Did you say this is the first state violation, or this was Mr. Usman's first violation in 3 years?
Yep, this is Usman's first. I'm sorry, is it Usman or Mr. Usman?
It's Umar. Well, Usman, my brother.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm the day-to-day operations person. So.
Okay. It is the first state violation in 36 months.
In the whole state?
Nope, for the store.
Oh, for the store?
Yes.
Oh, of the state regulation?
Yes.
Okay. And just one other question. The minor who went in and allegedly purchased this tobacco product,
Yep.
What was the age of that person?
That youth is 18 years old.
18?
Yep.
Okay. And he should be 21, is that the idea?
Correct.
Yeah, so 3 years below. And do you know, and it may say, and I may have read it and forgotten, but what was the, I think we had a picture of the product that was sold.
Yep. It appears to be a black and mild cigar.
Okay. And there was one cigar that
Correct.
was purchased?
Yep.
What would be the purchase price of something like that?
The purchase price on that day was $2.66.
Okay. And I'm sorry, well, is there anything to add, or do you have questions, Diane?
I'm just wondering the comment about this, the first violation in 36 months. Does that mean that 36 months ago there was a violation? 3 years ago?
Joan did not provide me with records beyond 36 months, but typically there's a reset after that 36-month period. Not to say that there isn't a previous history, but I don't know if there was or wasn't.
Thank you.
Can I say something
Sure.
on that? That site's only been open for about 2.5 years, so we haven't been even operational at that particular site for 36 months. But like as the gentleman said, from my understanding, speaking to Ms. Jones, was it resets after every 36 months.
Great. Thank you.
So,
So on the tobacco report, it states at the bottom that, excuse me, December 19th, 2023, there was a local cigar pricing violation, which a $100 fine was issued. And then of September 20th, 22, the FDA went in the store. Not tobacco control, but the Food and Drug Administration. And a minor was also able to purchase. So that was 9/20/22. That's the history that's labeled on this report, just so the board's aware.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So this particular one was on February 22nd, so a month ago or so. And one cigar essentially was sold to an 18-year-old. And that 18-year-old, is that kind of a test person sent by the tobacco control, or how did it become known that this occurred?
So all youth that are employed for tobacco control undergo the same training regimen. It wasn't a test, it was part of the tobacco control permit that youth do go in periodically to all of the stores within the program to see if they can purchase.
Yeah, that essentially what I was asking was, this was a tobacco control person, it wasn't just someone.
No, this youth is employed by the Tobacco Control Alliance.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, sir, did you have something that you want to say in response?
Yes, again,
And
thank
again,
you.
if you could introduce yourself, yeah.
Yes, my name is Umar Mughal. I'm one of the owners of the Express Fuel. We have 3 sites in this town. All 3 of them do sell tobacco, cigarette products. On this particular site, the violation did occur. I'm not arguing that. We looked at the security footage. The sale was made. This employee, it was her last week. She moved to Connecticut, so the week she sold it, that was her last week of work. So I'm not sure if she was, she had a bunch of other things in her mind. When we hire everybody, we go through this training, making sure, anytime there's, a risk of somebody looking like a minor, 21 years old or under, we definitely ID. I'd rather have my cashiers or managers refuse a $2 sale or $10 sale than, having to do this. It's not ideal for us, obviously. And then, like it was mentioned, in 36 months, this is our first violation. And I was speaking to Jones last year. I think that particular site got checked 24 times. They only tell you when there's a violation that occurs, but as an owner, I can request at the end of the year to find out how many times, we got checked. So she did tell me out of 24 times, I guess we slipped up once, which is not, it shouldn't happen at all. I do agree. I understand, if there's any kind of leniency, I would definitely appreciate that. We do take, precautions, but unfortunately, this did occur, and we have retrained all of our staffs at all of our locations just to make sure this does not happen again. I feel like we have a fairly good track record in the city with these kind of things. overall in compliance in general, no matter if it's tobacco or anything else, locally and statewide. So hopefully you take that in consideration. As far as the other 2 violations occurred, those were the the pricing violation. That was different. One of them was an honest mistake on our end. We stopped carrying a certain product, and we never updated the pricing because I thought we never carried it in our stores. So that was an error on my end, not on my cashiers or anything. And I believe we had a hearing on that too, and this was, I don't know, last year or something like that. But that was at a different site, Mechanic Street. But, yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, I will look into that. I apologize for bringing that up. It shouldn't be brought up against this store. I said,
yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's all. Jones did kind of explain to me what can happen, and if ideally, yeah, I wouldn't want to pay $1,000, but rules are what the rules are. So if but at least definitely consider suspending the sales. I would appreciate that.
Well, did you?
I don't have any questions. No, thank you.
No problem.
I'm not sure I have a question. I just have a statement that I hate doing these hearings because, first of all, I know it's very difficult running these businesses. You have to hire a lot of folks. Some of them are fairly transient, hard to train them. As you say, they're seeing multiple people every day, and a mistake gets made here and there. Unfortunately for you, it happened to be someone who was asked to go there just to see if you were paying attention, and apparently it didn't. I personally think that $1,000 in suspension, either one of them, I think is fairly significant punishment, and I always look for a way to try to avoid that. I wish I could just say, look, don't do that again. I don't want to see you here again. And that's what I would really prefer. And I really believe that you try not to do that again, and you don't want to have that happen. So in a way, I almost need Joan Hamlet here, but maybe you can answer. I don't know if there's a way to say, look, don't do this again. We're not going to, I prefer not to mete out punishment on this for this particular time. I don't think it was done purposely or to try to sneak $2 out of the Treasury that, for the sake of, for doing that. I think I'm choosing to believe that it was an honest mistake. And again, so I think the punishment that the regulations say has to be there is pretty severe for that. So I don't know if there would be a way to say, don't do that again, we'll trust you, but if you do it again, then for sure you'll get punishment. But I don't know if there's a way to avoid this.
Unfortunately, there isn't. Short of a protocol error or a processing error, there was neither in this case. In addition to Usman agreeing and not contesting that the sale occurred, it's essentially, for lack of a better term, a guilty or not guilty finding. And with that, the $1,000 fine that the board can't reduce, and that 1 to 7 day permit suspension, which there is a bit of flexibility there for the board to determine. But it does have to be a minimum of 1 day or a maximum of 7 days.
Well, I mean, it sounds as if we're, as I say, between a rock and a hard place. There's not much leeway that we have. Certainly, I don't know if Diane would agree, but certainly if we must impose these fines, then I would think the $1,000 fine sounds like that's not negotiable. That has to be. And certainly, I would then favor the 1 day suspension if we must do some kind of suspension over something longer. Again, looks like an honest guy, and
I appreciate it.
I think we've had hearings in the past where I've said the same thing, and not to say in any way I expected this from you, but where the same person shown up 2 or 3 more times, and after a while I start to say maybe I didn't judge that person properly. But I believe that you made an honest mistake. Unfortunately, the law says that whether honest or not, it's a mistake, and we need to put out that punishment, as it were. So, much as I hate to do it, I would make the motion that we uphold the $1,000 fine and impose a 1-day suspension, which I guess you said occurs on April 1st?
April 5th.
April 5th, I'm sorry, April 5th. And I apologize that we have to do it, but that's what we have to do, I guess.
So I think the recommendation there by Tobacco Control is to recommend that the remaining days continue without a finding. So he would have to serve if another violation happened within 36 months. Once again, he would automatically have to serve the remaining days. Does that make sense?
That being 2 more days beyond, or?
Correct.
Not the whole 7 days?
Or 1 to 7.
1 to 7, yeah.
Yeah. So I would
Am I
second.
interpreting that correct?
That's how I'm interpreting it
Yeah.
as well.
I second that motion.
I think you might just want to clarify that you're continuing, you're making a 1-day suspension, and the remaining days are continue without a finding. The hearing is continued without a finding unless another violation occurs within the tolling period.
So it's like being on probation for 3 years.
Bingo.
Right? So if everything stays clear for 3 years, then the 1-day fine is, the 1-day suspension is served, the fine is paid, and it's all good. But then if something comes up in that 3-year period, then it goes back to a more lengthy suspension.
Correct.
Correct? Yeah.
You would have to serve that as the second offense violation, assuming it would be a similar offense, plus the days that you gave on this hearing, in addition to the days that go along with the next penalty. So that's really your only route to reduce the penalties.
So probation,
I understand.
yeah.
I had a lengthy conversation with Joan about all this, so she did
I find that
explain.
hard to believe that it was lengthy.
Well, it was lengthy. It was definitely lengthy. Trust me, I was trying to.
Yeah.
There's no conversation with Joan that isn't lengthy.
Everybody in here knows Joan, obviously. No.
But she's very clear.
She
very
is.
clear. She knows her business, and she wants to make sure when that conversation is over that you're understanding her and that she's understanding you.
No, I mean, I did appreciate that,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I didn't mean that in a sour way, but believe me,
I know.
she does a great job.
Well, did you get the motion okay then, Karen? What's that? And,
So it sounds like you reduce the $1,000 fine, you reduce it to 1 day,
Yep.
continue without a finding. If he commits another violation, he has to serve that time in addition to that offense, the next offense.
Right. But for this occasion, there is the $1,000 fine and 1-day suspension.
Actually, I think the fine goes up to
I believe
Second violation is more
second.
expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
$2,000, I believe, with a 7-day, I'm sorry, don't quote me, I believe it's a
I have the regs right here.
day. And then the third violation is a $5,000 with a 30-day, I believe.
5 I know, but the second one is...
It will not happen
It
again.
will not happen.
Right,
It
exactly.
certainly was not worth
I mean,
it.
it definitely wasn't me, so.
Right.
But I got 15 employees, so.
Yeah.
Could I just ask you just a question for my education? You have 3 locations.
In Fitchburg.
any one of them, they all sell tobacco products, correct?
Two of them sell tobacco product and cigarettes. One of them only sells cigarettes.
So just one of the ones with the tobacco products. On average, in a given day, how many people, I just want to know this, how many people come in to buy tobacco products in a day?
Close to about 100 people.
Really? That many?
Well, between tobacco and cigarettes,
Yeah,
it's
but-
over 100, yeah.
Per day?
Yeah.
Wow.
It used to be a lot more when there was no flavor ban, but,
Yeah.
it was a lot more.
But,
So I have a
actually,
question, too. If you have that one day that's going to be your day of suspension, if somebody comes in to buy any tobacco products, you have to just say, we're not selling tobacco products
So
today?
that was another question, what would you like us to, this is the first time I'm dealing with this. Actually, I'm going to be out of country during that time. I'm leaving next Tuesday. I won't be back till April 9th. I won't even be here. But I was just thinking if we can just cover everything instead of literally taking everything off, we can just cover with a sheet or something.
And
My
that-
employees will know we're not selling anything back.
You know, that's a good question. So the suspension is just for tobacco products, or does he have to close his whole entire store for
No,
that?
the suspension is just for tobacco
Yeah,
products.
so my thing was tobacco and cigarettes and everything, there's separate two shelves.
Yep.
Can we just cover it with some kind of sheet to make sure, and then we'll just let our employees who are working that day, we're not touching this?
Yeah, that is my understanding, that the products just can be covered. They don't need to be relocated to the rear of the
Because there's a
store or
lot more
offsite.
work relocating, and especially I'm not here, and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, perfect, we'll do that.
I'm just amazed that it's 100 people a day on average. If you would ask me to guess, I'd say maybe 10 people still smoke. But it's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Between vaping and traditional tobacco and the different packets that they have, it's still quite popular.
Yeah, 100 is not that much. We have a site in New Hampshire where it's a lot more busier.
I'm amazed, yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will put this in writing so it's clear to everybody what the actual penalty was.
Oh, what I'll do is, because I'm leaving, I'm not sure what the payment time, I'll just stop by the town hall tomorrow, drop a $1,000 check. If you guys want me to.
Mr. Zardelli, do you need Mrs. Hamlet to, I guess what I'm asking is, in short, is the date of the suspension day flexible or is no dice?
Date would be April 5th.
Okay.
I honestly can't speak to flexibility or
I
not.
figured that, but I had to,
Yeah.
I had to try.
Yeah.
Do you have concerns that you're not going to be available and that,
Well, I'm definitely not available. I'm going to be out of country.
Yeah.
Starting 25th, which is next Tuesday, until April 9th. I'm not going to be here.
Okay.
My father is in the area, but I feel like I have a good staff overall. So I'm not too concerned about
Okay.
them not following the orders. But again, I'm not here.
Right.
Nothing's 100% guaranteed. So, but I'm pretty certain we should be able to accommodate.
okay.
Get it over with.
I just wanted to get that out in the open. I wanted to make sure. I mean, not that, I mean, you can't do it all yourself, so it's.
I mean, I got cameras, I watch them, so if,
Yeah.
let's say if they do slip up, I'm gonna make sure, at least on that day, we're taken care of.
How many employees do you have you say you also have a place in New Hampshire then?
Yes, we got one in New Hampshire.
And 3 here?
Overall, we have 15 employees that I
With
oversee.
them? Yeah.
Can be headaches. But
So I have one more question, silly, but who is the check made out to? Is it made out to the city of Fitchburg, or is it made out?
Yes.
It is?
It is.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
So I'll prepare a written response for you.
All right.
I'll do that as soon as possible, but I think you understand
Yeah.
All right.
what was decided upon.
No.
But when 2 years down the road, when we're trying to sort things out, it's easier to resort to the notes.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Hopefully,
I
we don't,
remember-
hopefully we don't don't have to do that.
Hopefully, I won't come here for this reason. Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for your input and for your civil obedience. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Sorry.
All right, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Have a
you
good
both.
day.
Thank you both.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Right.
We don't want to see either of you ever again.
Go away. All right. I lost my agenda. Oh, there it is.
There we go. Well, I think we've covered most of the initial topics. One was approval of the meeting minutes from March 6, 2025. I had a chance to skim through them. Personally, they seem fine to me.
Well done, Karen, thank you. Make a motion that we accept those minutes.
And I'll second that.
So, good with that.
And that takes us to announcements.
And I'll make this brief. We've already talked about it, but I will say it one more time. We do have a hearing officer in place. Massachusetts General Law 40U, which was adopted by the City Council some time ago, is in place. So inspectors are out searching for those curbside violations, and it's a good idea for folks to take this in mind. We're trying to educate the best we can, and I'm going to take this opportunity to say it as much as I possibly can. You need to properly store trash, your carts, recycling, and trash carts in a site on your property that does not create a nuisance. And you cannot, by city ordinance, store those carts, barrels, whatever you call them, at curbside. Nor can you store debris. So keep in mind, inspectors are watching that. You will receive a ticket, and the process is identified by 40U, and you can appeal it to a municipal hearing officer. But it takes time out of your busy day to do such things, and it seems a lot easier just to store your barrels and your trash properly. It helps the city appearance-wise as well as health-wise.
Steve, where's the office of the municipal hearing officer? Is that in City Hall?
So it hasn't been determined the location yet. It's either going to be in this building, or it's only going to happen two evenings a month. I believe, I'm not even sure that the night has been determined yet. But it's either here or within City Hall in one of the meeting rooms. Hopefully, once that's going to be decided very shortly, because we, like I mentioned earlier, we do have some appeals.
So it's certainly not an all-day, every-day kind of occurrence?
No, it's going to be an evening a month, and we're going to start baby steps first. Obviously, get the process rolling and get the hearing officer comfortable, and maybe a few cases in a setting just to get things organized and rolling.
So, just so I understand, if let's say one of the inspectors goes by, finds some garbage improperly at curbside, the inspector then goes to the municipal hearing officer and reports that, or
So,
gives a ticket?
A ticket says the appeal process right on it. Basically, your options are to, one, pay the ticket, admit to it, it's over, don't do it again, because you can get another ticket. You can appeal to the municipal hearing officer if you feel you've been wronged in some way, shape, or form, or have some issue possible similar to the Grove Street issue. We fully expect that is going to bring up a lot of these issues. There are a lot of postage stamp lots out there that don't have the room to store barrels. And then there is the option to appeal by mail to the municipal hearing officer, which means you can appeal in writing and not have to go to an in-person hearing. You can just write your case, document all the issues surrounding your case, and mail it to the municipal hearing officer. The municipal hearing officer will hold a hearing and utilize whatever materials are supplied and make a decision. And then you can also apply for an in-person hearing. I would assume most folks would do that if they are interested in appeal. But those are the options, and I remind folks that you can always appeal the municipal hearings officer's decision, but that would need to go to a court of jurisdiction.
Great. Thank you.
No problem. The next issue on the agenda is the city cleanups. In April and May, we'll be holding several ward cleanups. I urge folks to assist in these cleanups to help clean up litter in our streets and parks, depending on how many volunteers we get. I believe our first cleanup is, I'm sorry, I've lost all my documentation, but I believe our first cleanup is in,
Says April, May.
it's in April.
Yeah.
We ask folks to come out, and we will provide, or actually Salvation Army usually provides refreshments in the morning, refreshments and a light breakfast, as well as a lunch. It's free of charge. We always like to thank the Salvation Army and its food truck for helping us out. More details will come on additional disposal options. We hope to be able to take unwanted televisions and CRTs, cathode ray tubes, that can't be disposed of in the landfill but have to be recycled. Mattresses, there will be a fee for CRTs as well as mattresses. We hope to be able to accept those at the cleanups. The cleanups, I do remind folks that they're not made to clean your basement. We're here to clean the street. There are ways to clean your basement, and we can certainly work on that, but on the streets, we want to remove trash and litter from streets and parks, and we're limited. We basically have a couple of dumpster roll-offs, so we don't have the ability to accept a huge amount of waste. So, again, we want to help clean up the streets and make things cleaner.
So again, with those, there's one in April, one in May.
There's actually 4 of them, and
Well, not so important as to exactly when they are, but what happens, there'll be a place that people convene and
Yes.
go out and...
so I can state the places. The first one will be at the High Street lots over by Longjoe School. And then the following weeks are, there'll be one at the Winooshnock Road, the former CAPS Collaborative School. I believe it's 44 Winooshnock Road. Folks can meet at these sites at 8 a.m. We hope to direct folks that wish to volunteer. We supply bags, plastic gloves. I encourage, if you don't want the plastic gloves, that you bring your own gloves. It's helpful. Hopefully we'll be able to have trash pickers. You supply bags, and you basically are directed, unless you come with a goal that an area you want to clean, we'll direct you somewhere that we are in advance prepared to clean up, and you will fill a bag and leave it visible so that crews, DPW is also a huge player in this whole thing. We couldn't do it without them. They're out there street sweeping and in the area that we're working in. Street sweeping and also assisting with health staff to pick up bags that are full, and then we make sure that these bags are properly disposed of in our dumpsters. But there are 4 sites. I believe they start the third and fourth week of April on a Saturday from 8 to noon, and then also the 2 weeks in May, which is the 3rd and the 10th. And I can't seem to find my flyer in front of me. I know it's around here somewhere. But the first date is April 19th, and then every Saturday up until May 10th.
So if somebody in the community wanted to know about joining in for the cleanup, where would they be getting that information?
I suggest they reach out to the department. give us a call, send us an email, however, 978-829-1870, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can.
But is there a flyer? Did you?
There is a flyer. It is
Did you just-
online, and I just happened to come across it. It was upside down. So April 19th is the start. It's still at the lot at High and Pleasant Streets. April 26th is in Cleghorn at Daniel Street Park. May 3rd is at 44 Wanusknock Road. And then May 10th is our West Fitchburg cleanup, and that is held in Stanley Park. For those who aren't familiar with Stanley Park, it is on Westminster Street in front of the British American Club. And as I mentioned, coffee and donuts and light lunch is provided by the Salvation Army, as well as we will arrange the acceptance of waistband items such as mattresses and box springs but these in TVs, but they will be a charge for them. We hope to reduce that charge for one day. That's the goal, but that more information to come on that. Sorry about that.
No, super. No, I was going to ask the same, how to...
And
how
there is a
people-
flyer online. If folks have questions, certainly give a call, and you can check out the flyer. All your
So you go to the city website or something to...
You could go to the city website. There'll be a press release very shortly, and I'm sure FATV will... Actually, I think I already saw it on FATV after the council meeting the other evening, so I believe it's already on FATV. Got too much paper here.
Number 3.
Also, on April 26th, Saturday, from 10 a.m. to noon, in front of this building on Main Street, which is 700 Main Street, the Legislative Building, we will have a drive-up and drop-off of unwanted medication. You can basically discard and dispose properly of all those medications that are in your medicine cabinet that you no longer use. It's really great to get these medications properly disposed of so they don't create any issues and get in the wrong hands and get improperly used to create addiction. So it's always a well-attended event. Upwards of 100 pounds of pills and assorted medications are received. I remind folks that if you can't attend the April 26th event, we have a medication kiosk in the police station that you can dispose of medications 24/7, 365 days a year. And folks like to use that as well. It's very popular.
It's better than having the medicines end up in the water supply, too.
Yeah, do not flush them down the toilet because that causes a whole other sort of issues. Not always can we remove these medications and contaminants from the water supply.
Right.
All right. Somehow I became very unorganized. So there is also a Narcan training coming up, and I'm going to have to dig for that one, so I'll skip to the opioid settlement fund plan. There is and I will be sharing this with the board members, there is a community input forum being held. It's actually 2 weeks from today at 9 a.m., 2 in one day, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Actually, the second one is actually after the board meeting on Thursday, April 3rd. Again, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Right here in the Legislative Building. Folks are encouraged to come out. We want to hear how you feel opioid funds should be spent. Share any personal impact or lived experience you and your family have had as a result of the opioid epidemic, as well as share ideas about what resources you'd like to see in the community. And we hope you share your thoughts on what gaps exist in the community as well. There will be other input forums held. These will be held at CHC Action. the Community Justice Support Center reentry program, at Mock First Steps, and at Restoration Recovery on Main Street. But those are less of community. These are geared toward folks that, those other forums are geared towards folks that are within the system already working with folks that have abuse disorders. So we want to hear from the community at this forum, and we hope folks will come out. We also encourage that take a look at this flyer. It is already on our webpage, on the homepage. It contains a survey in both English and Spanish. We encourage folks to give input on how you feel funds should be spent. Surveys are also in paper stored at the Health Department's office as well as the Mayor's office on the 3rd floor of City Hall, at the Senior Center. Or you could call 978-829-1854, and we can arrange to get a survey for you if you can't do it online. But if you go online, there are QR codes right on the input forum flyer. And again, you can scan that QR code or hit the hot link and fill out the survey. All designed to get community input on the program and the opioid funds.
I have a question on that, Steve. There are also forms at the library.
Yes, there is forms.
So if somebody were to-
For some reason it isn't on here, but yeah.
That's okay. If somebody fills out the form, then what do they do with that form?
You can leave it at any one of those sites.
Okay.
Yeah. And thank you for mentioning that. If it's done in paper, leave it at any one of those sites. You can fill it out at the library and leave it at the senior center. It doesn't really matter, as long as any of those sites will accept the survey.
And they're anonymous? You don't
They're
have to
anonymous,
put your name
yes.
on them, so...
It's basically a great way to give input if you don't feel a community meeting is a comfortable setting for you. That's the whole idea of a whole lot of outreach with this, is to get information that folks may be uncomfortable with discussing in a community setting.
So those two meetings on Thursday, April 3rd, one is at 9 a.m., one of them is at 6 p.m.,
Correct.
and they'll be similar. They're just running it twice in that day, just for people who can't make it in the morning and can
Correct.
come and... Okay.
Yeah, it's making it out. It'll basically be the mayor is appointing an advisory committee, which will be a subcommittee of the Board of Health. These will be listening sessions, and more or less folks can come in and tell this advisory committee what they feel funds should be spent on, and where the gaps are on addressing the issue.
Thank you.
So I want to clarify that the advisory committee is just about almost complete, but it has not met yet, so I'll have more information on that very shortly. It's important that we have the input from that advisory committee, which ultimately, when it comes to the grant fundings, there will be many grants. This advisory committee will make recommendations to the board, and this board will decide through the application process where funds are allocated to dedicate to this program.
So are you saying then that this community input forums are going to be happening before the advisory committee is selected and put together?
No, we hope to have the advisory commission all in place for this.
Before April 3rd?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So it's important to know we're taking part in the national opioid settlement that was reached by the Mass Attorney General, opioid manufacturers and distributors. Abatement funds allocated to municipalities must have to implement strategies set forth in the state subdivision agreement. So, as I mentioned, we have scheduled 2 public forums, and they are designed for community members to provide input on the priority use of settlement funds. I'm just checking my notes here just to make sure I've mentioned everything off the top of my head. Like I said, the forum will allow for in-person comments from those who live and work in Fitchburg, especially those with lived experience for themselves or family members. We also invite experts in treatment and prevention and staff and organizations working on opioid issues. Community input forum will be held again here in the Legislative Building Thursday, April 3rd, 2 times, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Important to note, refreshments will be served at both meetings. As I mentioned, the other forums, restoration, recovery, Community Health Connections Action, mock first steps, the reentry program, and the Community Support Center of the Worcester County Sheriff's Office. These are the local organizations that have been identified as locations which provide opportunities for those with lived experience and within the proposed strategy areas to speak openly and genuinely in a safe area, which is recommended by the subdivision agreement. The agreement lays out various programs and strategies designed to support and promote initiatives such as opioid use disorder treatment access, support for people in treatment and recovery, connections to care, harm reduction, and meeting the needs of justice-involved individuals, as well as support for pregnant and parenting individuals and their children, and prevention. As I mentioned, the online survey is out online. We encourage folks to fill out that survey. It will determine how we utilize settlement funds in the future. It's also on Facebook. I'm glad I looked that up. It is also on the Board of Health Facebook page, and it's in English and Spanish. I also mentioned the paper copies. Here it does say the library, so thank you, Diane. Library, City Hall, Health Department, and Mayor's Office, as well as the Senior Center, main lobby, and the Outreach Office, which is on the 2nd floor of the Senior Center. And as I mentioned earlier, the completed surveys may be returned to any location. It's important to note all quantitative and qualitative data will be evaluated by an outside agency who will provide a report of these findings from the surveys and input. And I believe I already mentioned, but I want to repeat that the mayor will be appointing an ad hoc committee. They'll be called the Opioid Abatement Advisory Committee. They will review the evaluation report that I believe the outside agency would be the Institute for Community Health. They did the previous one. And this committee would take that report and establish priorities based on the data. And then this board would receive their report, and you make the appropriate allocations and recommendations as the Board of Health. Clear as mud, right?
It gets clearer every time I hear it.
Well, that's kind of why I read it, because I was jumping all over the place, and I will leave this with you folks so you can take it on your merry way. It also does include timelines of all the events and things that how we expect to play out with the mini grants and such. So I don't want to jump too far ahead in this, but it's kind of a useful guide to refer to because there's a lot of information and it's kind of tough to remember everything.
Do you want me to pass one of those to Diane?
Sure. I can share those with you. Any further questions on that? I think I've covered everything. I want to make sure I look through my stuff. I do have copies of the language on the survey if you folks would like to take a look at that. You can keep the folder if you feel like you have a need for it. But this is something we can sort out after the meeting.
Do you want this back? Or?
No, you can keep it. One last item. Thursday, April 17th, community Narcan and overdose prevention training. From 5:30 to 6, there will be resource tables, and at 6, the training begins, right here in the Legislative Building at 700 Main Street, Thursday, April 17th, 2025. Again, there'll be press releases on this, and our friend FATV will definitely assist on getting the word out. This is free and open to the community. Like refreshments will be served. Training will include how to recognize an opioid overdose, when and how to use life-saving Narcan, questions and answers with a recovery coach. Narcan will be distributed to all who attend. And it's important to note that the Health Department in Fitchburg is an affiliate of the Commonwealth Naloxone Purchasing Program. More information on this can be obtained by calling 978-829-1854.
And so I would just like to add one thing to that, that Narcan does expire. If you have Narcan in your home or in your car or you carry it with you, just look at the expiration date to make sure that what you have has not expired.
I think I've done it all.
I think that ends a productive meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me get those words out.
Our
It's
pleasure.
coming together. It took a while to put the program together, but it's coming together. We can make it work.
I think I read online, I didn't read it carefully, but there might be a renegotiation of that whole settlement, so there might actually be more money coming eventually of the whole national settlement.
Yeah, our funding is going to go to 2038, but ultimately it tallies up to a total of about 1.5 million. Within the grand scheme of things, it's easy to get things done with money, obviously, but it's the next 15 years is not a real lot of money.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
we want to get the money out to the community as quick as possible and fill those gaps where we need to, but again, I mean, I don't want to say it's pocket change. 1.5 million is nice, but doesn't solve all the world's problems in 1.5 million. No. But it's a good start, and it's very helpful to get us going and maintain and sustain some sort of a program, which we would never be able to do without it. So,
Yeah. No, it's great.
thank you.
Well, may I have a motion then to adjourn the meeting?
I second that.
All right. The March 20th meeting of the Board of Health is adjourned.